answer with things like the Lee Sin and even the Viego still up and available.
Even things like Taliyah I'll mention too. I feel like Xiaohu has been one of the better Taliyahs with his walls being so impactful. So as EDG have themselves the Azir, it's like, hey, we're in a completely different draft from what we saw last series, Dagda. That Azir priority, as you labeled, is going to be massive here with EDG foregoing the bottom lane just to make Scout happy.
And this is where the big question mark gets put on RNG. For the longest time, we have not been the fan of the quirky answer, specifically for Xiaohu. Xiaohu has been someone that needs to be able to dictate the pace of the game, and we oftentimes just see people kind of fall over to the quirky side of things, but with the nerfs to quirky, and also with the play pattern that RNG like to play, I much prefer something like the Taliyah, where you can try and have early impact, you can dictate the pace of fights with the Weaver's Wall, and that has been the strength of Xiaohu in recent RNG.
We get Breathe, though, on a top lane Sejuani, and progressing through draft, we get no bottom laners whatsoever. So while still movement in the mid lane with Xiaohu's pick, as EDG start hovering over a jungler themselves, Dagda, bottom lane is completely left open, which, again, just doesn't happen with many drafts these days.
And I feel like EDG are in the better seat here. They ban away they're probably going to want the Aphelios, so you ban away the Jinx, you can ban away a Sivir, and then make sure that you're able to get one of the big powerhouse picks. So for RNG, you then feel under pressure to ban even more of these AD carries on the bottom side to make sure that you're both kind of getting out of these S tier picks. Unless they just want to try and target the supports instead. Maybe they're thinking, look, an Aphelios isn't a big problem if he doesn't have the safety of these picks beside him, but no, it looks like they're going to agree. So Draven banned away. They're probably going to try and ban away the Callista as well, and just make sure that any of these higher end picks that we're seeing are just off the board.
Or, as you said before, maybe the support pick as well could be the next look, because Ming has just been playing a hell of a lot of Nautilus, as usual, in this split. For Meiko, Brom has been his big pick at 5 games, 100% win rate, but we do get Gala's Jinx taken off the board instead, so you mentioned something like the Callista's open, but without the Renata, I wonder if either team is going to go towards it without the classic 2v2 lane that has been more or less successful in the league.
Yeah, because Aphelios is considered a decent matchup into the Callista anyway. So I'm trying to figure out, like, I personally don't like the Callista with the Azir. I know lots of teams have picked it. I'm just not a big fan of it personally. So I'd nerdy rather you kind of go, okay, well, we'll take the Aphelios here. Okay, it looks like the Callista's banned. So you take the Aphelios here for Viper. You get counterpick support. And for RNG, you're probably going to end up seeing something like an Ezreal or something along these lines come out. Or maybe we get a real throwback and you end up with the Kai'Sa here for Gala. Maybe that's the plan here. Kai'Sa Nautilus could actually be an incredibly strong pickup against the Aphelios.
Dagda, don't do this to me. Don't tease me, right? I love Gala's Kai'Sa. I think we all know it pretty well from the world stage. And Dagda, this is why sometimes you don't just lead me down the path. We get a Lucian Nami, which, let's be real, again in the LPL, has been seen quite rarely these days, but more importantly, hasn't been that successful. So a risk here for Gala and Ming's laning phase. Well, I think we could just say, Dagda, this is pretty standard EDG with Azir, Aphelios. Like, hey, what a team fighting team.
Yeah, I mean, Lucian and Nami has now been getting a little bit more success from the LPL. I think his teams have stopped just kind of randomly blind picking it. It is sitting at a 50% win rate, whereas it's right the way down at like 32% about week 4, week 5 of the split. Yeah. So I think this is a position where Gala and Ming can actually do a lot of work on this matchup. Aphelios, something that's very short range, which makes it easier to abuse here in the Lucian Nami. His level 2, level 3 aren't particularly strong on Aphelios, so it means you can actually have these windows of opportunity to try and play through. You got good jungle matchup as well that can try and help you on this bottom side. So I think RNG, as long as they're able to facilitate Gala Ming to continuously go aggressive here, they should be in a good spot to try and go and power through a strong mid game.
Well, set themselves up for that mid game then, Dagda. That's the message I'm getting. Xiaohu on the Taliyah as always. As we say with every Taliyah in the LPL, needs to be watched for the Weaver's Walls. And I think you and I were also discussing within that last series as to how a lot of LPL Taliyahs look for these mid-game roams, look for the movements. It's not just about the early game, right? And I feel like Xiaohu has been doing that better than any other mid laner. Like his Taliyah has been pretty spot on so far.
Especially when you look at how he tries to dictate fights with it. I think this is my most, like, one of the most fun parts of watching Xiaohu on the Taliyah is, like, how he actually used the Weaver's Wall to cut off escapes, set up engages, you know, make sure that you're able to kind of corral people into the position that you want them to be. And I think that's what has made Xiaohu such an exceptional Taliyah, and why we'll have to see now how Scout is going to manage. But as we said, Scout, the best Azir in the business right now in the LPL. So I am very excited to see these two powerhouse mid laners go up against each other and seeing that exact clash of styles that we highlighted at the opening of the series.
As we welcome you in to our match of the week, we have been waiting for 6 games for this to come through. But with 3 teams already locked into playoffs in JDG, Top Esports, and Victory 5, RNG and EDG are on everyone's mind as the teams that will look for spot number 4. Our MSI champions versus our world champions. This is a matchup that you don't want to miss. As we get into Summoner's Rift and already just a bit of poking out, forget that for the time being. I'm more interested in the ward place towards the top side. Dagda Jiejie is going to be spotted on this red start if he goes there, while Gala and Ming are doing their own scouting here. Well, speak of the devil, actually, Wei goes in. Hang on a minute, Scout. Wanted to go in deep, but this has to flash. Best Azir in the business, yes. But now might not be the best mid laner within the series. As over the wall, Xiaohu flashes. Threaded volleys there. Scout trying to outrange it. Wei with first blood. EDG's mid laner caught in a trap.
You know, sometimes I think Scout might have adopted the pigeon brain that this Azir is given, because that was not the play. Moving in here, trying to get that poke onto Wei isn't really going to do too much, and now you end up burning your flash, you go down a kill as well. Not the position to be in. Now, Xiaohu and Wei had to burn their respective flashes as well, which may give some wiggle room for Jiejie to try and make some plays towards Xiaohu in these early stages, but it is still going to be so tough to do with the fact that you got that seismic shove to keep that Taliyah safe.
Dagda, perfect time for the John Lennon quote. Remember, I think Munchables was talking about this. I think you helped me paraphrase it. You know, when asked, is Ringo Starr the best drummer in the Beatles? No, best drummer in the world. John Lennon replies, he's not even the best drummer in the Beatles. Scout, not even the best mid laner in the game. Xiaohu is set up for success, and I think more importantly so, especially his Wei. He's parting from top side down to bot, as I don't even need to talk about junglers, because top is already brewing into what could just be considered a lot of fun in the sun.
Yeah, I mean, breathe. We'll have to be careful of the Mega Gnar being hit, but has the Ignite, has the Biscuits as well, which is going to help him out substantially in this matchup. A grasp of the Undying proc, and that Ignite could have spelled a bit of disaster for a mini Gnar, but Flandre at least getting a little bit of that help back thanks to moving in towards that Mega Gnar state. But we are going to have to keep our eyes on seeing how Xiaohu and Wei can try and use this advantage now. Because they don't have the flashes, it will make things a little bit more difficult for them in the early point, but they will have those back up as they hit level 6, and that's where RNG are really going to try and come alive here.
Ooh, pause. Breathe on Flandre yet again. Good kite down from Breathe. The Arctic Assault's being used in the nick of time as the Winter's Flail as well. Continues to be a bit of a pain. While Wei, speaking of pains, I mean, walking up to this blue! 1 HP, Dagda! 1 HP, and Wei literally just pressed E to get it.
And he should still be able to get this bottom scuttle as well. Xiaohu has push mid, but unfortunately, no real mana, so does need to be careful. But push on bot side is going to be spectacular. And this is what we're talking about, right? Wei trying to make sure that Jiejie can't be around this bottom half of the map, opening up Gala and Ming to play aggressive. And you can already see CS at least a little bit in favor of Gala and Ming. Turret plate already nearly picked up for this Lucian Nami, and things are only going to get more and more difficult for this bot lane of Viper and Meiko.
How nice is it to be a Lucian Nami with the jungle absolutely pummeling for the time being thanks to the early game. Wei setting the team up for success. There's even Xiaohu here having great trades against Scout in the mid lane. 1k gold lead to kick the game off, and we know exactly why the reason is there. But Dagda, walk me through comp of EDG a little bit more and how you stem the bleeding when we already set up that RNG want to make action happen earlier in this game anyway.
For EDG, it's about trying to prevent RNG from making plays. So they need to try and start looking for defensive vision, setting up their own wards at crucial intervals, like if you ever see Wei trying to move in towards your jungle, having some defensive vision there to spot him out, making sure that Xiaohu isn't going to be trying to wrap around in behind your bot lane at any point in time, and just give yourself as much notice as possible. But it does become incredibly difficult because, as we said, Scout, you know, losing out in this mid lane matchup because of the early kills going to Xiaohu's way, he's getting a lot of moments here for Xiaohu to push in these waves and start to roll.
And he's almost level 6 as well. As we look back towards the top side, look at this. I mean, Flandre versus Breathe continues to be, as I said, fun in the sun. And the wave in a great state, Dagda. Right now, as Xiaohu moves out of lane, Flandre has to be a little bit careful. They do have defensive wards in the river, which are going to spot out the Taliyah roam, but still, right now, Breathe has it in the place he wants it. As the camera's back down, but Dagda, you know what this is. You know what this is. Forward goes Gala, and cleanses the way the flash comes through from Viper too. There's a cleanse away from the exhaust. There's a full hook here from Meiko. Ignites down, but Viper's not willing to commit to the damage. 3 summoners for 2, and RNG's bottom lane have themselves better damage.
Communication might have been that Scout was considering moving down as he'd already roamed into the enemy jungle, but not going to be the case. He's going to back towards mid. We'll spot out the fact that Wei is on the Raptors though, and I feel like if Xiaohu pushes mid, hits 6, you make the play on bot here for RNG, and that's exactly what they're trying to. EDG looking to dissuade us.
As you said, deny the ganks, deny RNG snowballing this further. That's what Jiejie is doing. Xiaohu with level 6 though, and will have himself the health and the mana bar, thanks to the friendly Woolies letters in the bottom side river. Xiaohu now starting to move across the map though, and that's one of the other conditions we talked about. So for RNG, early game looking swift so far, looking pretty slick too. CS leads throughout top and bot. Mid right now in favor of Scout, but he's got a wave pushing, so we'll have to see how that equalizes Dagda. As Dragon is sitting there waiting just for some team to start it up, and especially since both junglers are down the bottom lane for now.
Jiejie a little bit of a level behind though because of those early steals coming through from Wei. So for EDG, they will lose out in the early game. It's a case of how little they can force themselves to fall behind. And I like that early ward from Scout onto the Raptors that spotted out where Wei was. It gave EDG all the information that they needed. It was like, Jiejie, get bot. We need to push this wave. We need to reset. And we need all the help we can get to make sure that we're not going to get caught out by RNG on the roam. So, at least for the moment, EDG's vision control is spotting out RNG's plays. They just need to make sure they're continuing that pattern as we go forward.
Because they're getting denied vision for now. I mean, the control wards that have come out from EDG and the priority there means that EDG are swept quite nicely as Wei wants to get over the wall. Just waiting to see if he is close to level 6. Haven't seen the XP bar so far, but he may not need it. A Scout walks towards the brush. Wei wants to go in, takes his trade, and Scout gets him on the outside. Look at where Jiejie is though, Dagda. Heading in from top side, now crossing the river himself, and it seems like always trying to find Wei when he makes his response play. Just perfect icing on the cake for how EDG want to stall this game out.
There is an opportunity here for EDG to get the Rift Challenge, though. I mean, pushing bot side, a nice slow push set up by Viper and Meiko. You've got shove in mid thanks to Jiejie being there as well. So there is actually an opportunity potentially here for EDG to use that lane state to move over towards the Rift Herald. But it looks like Xiaohu has spotted this and is now helping out the bot lane for RNG.
Spotted out in control ward. I mean, Xiaohu here needs to cycle shove close to getting it, and actually on the edge, Jiejie has to flash again, and or not again, but at least burning the flash means that Xiaohu does his job of moving down while Viper and Meiko move up to the wave. The dredge line at max range with Scout wanting to go in. The slide and glide available, but he's fully committed to this. Shifting sands as the ulti comes through, but a double knockup Wave preemptively goes forward with the flash, and Scout is going to be dropping here at max range. He's close to dying, but turning the target as Xiaohu flashes himself. Jiejie going to get a reset, but he's out to 3 people. RNG's map movements, Dagda, they outshine EDG.
And just great play from RNG across the board there. Wei knew he was incredibly close to 6, so instead of joining in the skirmish initially, he finishes red buff, hides around the corner. Gala actually pings 6 for Wei. We'll spot it here. Like, you're level 5 here coming into this, but as they start to come in here, look at Wei. No level 6. They clear these couple of minions that help him ding 6 right as he gets into the play. And then great flash forward here from Wei. Closes the distance. And with Xiaohu as well, just about able to finish off Scout. It's a perfect moment for RNG to use their level advantages and find the success that they need.
Jiejie just wants to get the reset and get out, but he's denied of that too. The kills come back, and Xiaohu with 2, Wei with 2. This early game, an absolute disaster for the world champions, and for RNG yet again showcasing why we're looking at them as the 4th strongest team in the LPL right now. Why this team off the back of MSI still looks so put together, Dagda, as they're just going to be taking the Herald. And remember that that Dragon wasn't taken either for EDG, nowhere near it with Jiejie clearing this top side.
And that's the thing, like, this was actually a really nice setup that we talked about for EDG, right? Push on bottom, potentially move over towards Rift Tower, like, make this play stick for you.
Whoa.
But, oh, so close to going down on top, but I mean, for EDG, we were saying, like, this was actually a good play. They'd set things up correctly, but RNG were just so good at reading it and going, all right, we know how to throw the counter punch. We know exactly what to do here. We move Xiaohu down, Wei's clearing his comps to hit 6, and they're able to turn that around. And this is why RNG are so terrifying. It's not just the fact of, oh, well, you know, individually, they are incredibly strong. It's they are so good at reacting to what is happening on the map at any given moment and understanding how they need to respond.
I mean, the use of their tools in that regard too, like Xiaohu's Weaver's Wall is clean. As we look at the Dragon, no steal coming through as, Jiejie's ulti doesn't make it over the wall, so Wei's going to spin a second time. He has nowhere to go, and they just want to give it to Xiaohu, but Wei comes in to clean up the kill finally. And that 3rd kill, an absolute disaster as EDG trade Dragon for their jungler's life.
And we're going to dive bot here as well, so maybe even more going across.
The culling to poke them down, the tidal wave to hit just the entrances. EDG, their turret will be blown wide open. A Moonlight Vigil with Inferno means nothing from Viper and Meiko as they try and stem this with Xiaohu buying some time, but it's all about the objective. RNG's early game in 11 minutes in. Dagda, they're going to get first turret blood on this Lucian Nami lane that has failed otherwise, but is going so well for Gala and Ming.
And Xiaohu was able to TP back mid, he picks up the wave there, now he's quickly going to reset to get his own back, so across the board, RNG just responding well to what EDG could do. Now, this is a cannon wave, so maybe Scout can try and get a turret play for himself if he wants to, but he's actually just going to reset. So even though Scout is getting that big CS lead that we're talking about, even though Scout is more than likely going to be able to come out with an experience lead, it's Xiaohu's impact on the map that is changing the course of RNG's play here, and that's what we're looking for from the mid laner for RNG.
And a good Taliyah that, you know, doesn't burn the wall, Dagda, to get the distance. Walks down, threatens the dive, doesn't pull any trigger, so the Weaver's Wall's still up and available and can be utilized for the top side play, another bottom side play if they overextend. Versatility is there for Xiao, who's now pushing out that bottom side himself, and as Wei and Ming and Gala all group up in this bottom side, here it is. Weaver's Wall available. Scout wants to use the Shifting Sands to get out, but with the Emperor's Divide, he can't get away from the seismic shove. Xiaohu versus Scout, and I'm saying Xiaohu all the way in game 1.
I mean, they're bringing earth and they're bringing water to the bot lane. You were always going to get hit by one of them there on Scout. Xiaohu with the seismic shove gets it. Now, bot lane turret more than likely going to go down. So EDG trying to make some sort of cross-map play up towards this top side, but only really going to be able to get the jungle camps as Breathe should be relatively fine to clear out this wave, especially with how beefy he is and how much CC he has, but EDG going to test the water anyway.
They are. I mean, the minion wave gone. Meiko instantly flashes as the ult at melee range from Breed, trying to kill Flandre. With the ignite down, he gets close, but Gnar makes it a no. So EDG fully committing Dagda and just trying to get something on this map, which ends up being a success.
Yeah, I thought we'd see Breathe kind of stick towards his tower, but deciding not to. There's
run,
Gala!
Run! Gala, you almost broke my sound booth.
That was insane. That was so close to going down, but Gala not quite able to get the kill. Will still get this turret in the mid lane though, and that's where you can see where if the Lucian Nami is able to get a lead, able to play through their strengths, how terrifying they can be. So that's going to be all the plates in bot being going over towards Gala. Now you got 2 in the mid lane as well. Gala's looking pretty big right now.
Dagda, which replay? Yes, take it. I mean, this is just beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, Gale Force, and just one more auto was needed. Not quite able to get it, but between the Gale Force, the culling, the extra damage coming through from Nami as well, that was so close to being a disaster for Viper, but Gala now going to be able to plot himself back in towards this mid lane. Bot tower is down. Looks like RNG with the Rift Tower coming up soon enough, want to make a play top.
I mean, EDG making the play, but it's Wei who's here Flandre's already burnt the flash, but the Cyclone's early, and Flandre even going into Gnar, gonna get knocked up and burst down. The two strongest members on Summoner's Rift right now are Wei and Xiaohu. And EDG getting countered means once again it's gonna go backwards. Jiejie knocked backwards, and hey, you shouldn't have walked that way. They are assassins and taking down their targets one by one.
I mean, RNG are everywhere on this map. Dragon now in 50 seconds as well, so you imagine with the control that RNG have, they should be able to pick that one up. Then you can start to rotate over towards the Rift Herald as well, and with how far ahead this mid-jungle is for RNG, how the hell do you try contest anything on EDG's side? Xiaohu and Wei just seem to be everywhere.
I mean, Scout is not at the point where you'd call this Azir relevant into the game. Dagda for Flandre hasn't been able to group up, has been stuck in the laning phase versus Breeze, you know, hog riding fantasy, which is just keep running me against this little weird dino. I forgot what animal Gnar is. What animal is Gnar? Did we figure that out?
He's just an ancient yordle, isn't he?
I don't know. Is a yordle an animal? Because Kennen is like a rat. No, Kennen is like a possum or something. You know, and in Australia, in the middle of the night, it'll be 10 o'clock or something, and you hear this scurrying on your roof. And it's because this possum has found a way into your house. Sorry, I'm projecting. I'll stop for now. Cullen comes through, and Gala once again doing a lot of damage. And Dagda, I'm projecting because I'm feeling annoyed considering this is match of the week. And RNG are smacking him. They're literally doing what that possum was doing, which is making sure that EDG, which is myself in the analogy, can't do a thing to stop them.
Yeah, I mean, RNG are just everywhere. And unfortunately for EDG, they are just kind of playing dead a little bit here. It's just not working out for them. And this is what we're talking about. RNG, they use Wei's pressure to move over towards Dragon. You have Gala continuously shoving in mid, so EDG never really get to contest. But now Breed will run into Jiejie.
Oh, here we go again. I mean, Scout's behind him. So Scout can actually do something here, but meanwhile, Gala gale forcing onto Viper. That's the energy we all need in our solo queue games. Dagda, when we compared Viper to Gala this split, we were so on point leading into this game.
I mean, Gala has been absolutely incredible for RNG. I mean, he's got the second highest KDA of any of the AD carries in the league right now. 5.8 KDA on average for this guy. 28% of the team's damage. Gala has been a menace for RNG, and he's been kind of let loose this split because Xiaohu's taken on this more facilitator role. Yep. And Gala, a man that I think had a lot of doubts around him when he joined RNG, has definitely managed to silence every single one of them.
Yeah, Gala's really moved into the role. I feel like last year, Dagda, it was a lot of Ming, and what can he do is we get the full-on third-person experience with Viper just getting four-shot.
I mean, Viper didn't stand a chance. And this is why, you know, Lucian and Nami were so strong at the start of the split. This is what everyone was looking at going, if I can do this in solo queue, I'll happily bring it to the competitive space. But when you had a lot of things like the Callista come in as answers, things that could actually fight that level 1 and 2 where Gala and Ming, especially on this Lucian Nami, wouldn't be that strong. That was the difference maker, but when every single one of them is taken off the board and it's Aphelios across the rift from you, you can see the potential of this Lucian Nami once more. Everyone in RNG, though, starting to congregate on this mid lane. Breed, the only one separate pushing bot. EDG trying to make a play, but honestly, they're just kind of losing out on map space here.
Yeah, they are. They walk through mid at first. Now setting up the gate. Meiko wants the pick, but Gala just unleashes the culling. Helps out Xiaohu with a kill as well. Get collected, kids. EDG are floundering with a Weaver's Wall coming through. Xiaohu doesn't take it. Gets stuck between the particles. But hey, RNG with 2 more on top. EDG don't stand a chance.
That was 4 versus 5.
Yeah.
That was just RNG flexing on EDG. And honestly, I think RNG came out with more of a health bar than they went into that with. That was absolutely insane. Now RNG get to push in towards this top side. They have full control over this jungle area. Baron hasn't even spawned, and RNG own the map right now. EDG are crumbling beneath the MSI champions.
And it seems like RNG are continuing that playstyle we talked about. Mid-game being so nasty to verse. As EDG spotted out here on a ward, Dagda. They're waiting in this brush. No one lenses. No one lenses. Oh, that hurts.
But look at that damage from Gala. Like, so much being churned out there. And that's the thing. Scout was like, oh, I'm just going up to collect the top wave. It'll all be fine. But it definitely was not fine. RNG now finding Meiko on the bot side with Jiejie. And just back away for the moment. They get the tower there.
At least getting the turret down, Dagda. Objective bounties are available, so EDG climbing into this game somewhat. But when I say that, it's like if you've ever been to rock climbing, I went, I think, 3 months ago. And I'm so unfit, I couldn't even do the kids' wall. But, you know, as someone who would look at rock climbing and see the hardest wall there, the one that's impossible to climb, right now is way with a blast code. It feels like EDG to get back into this game in the conditions you said, with Scout being, you know, core fundamental damage, Viper too. We have to wait another 15, 20 minutes at this point with maybe good dredge lines like that, but the tidal wave, nope. Meiko is dead again. Scout going to get the ulti, but Wei sent on in. That's a fake one. And as Scout uses the ulti on the fake Wukong, Gala now jumping in, flashing back out. We're getting bloody, but Breed comes in with a pretty average ultimate. As it's getting messy, Yakety Sax will continue, and RNG still got what they came for, which is the inhibitor turret, inner turret in the top side of the map.
Look, it's a bit of yakety sax, but RNG still look jacked. They are absolutely destroying this top side. They get the tier 2. You've got tier 2 gone in mid, the tier 2 gone on the bot side as well. And now we've hit the 20-minute mark. Now Baron is on the cards, which means if you ever get this for RNG, it's an instant base exposure for EDG. Dragon number 3 is live. Wei's going to try and start this one up, and it looks like he should be able to get this before EDG respond, as they're just going to try and move up into this top side and get some semblance of control around the big purple ward.
And RNG confident because they've got those control wards that were taken, but they've also got Xiaohu here managing the area. So as Jiejie looks for a pick onto the mid laner, Xiaohu kites his way back, moves away, and RNG start moving up here again. EDG going to use this time, though, to get a trade in turrets, but even with the objective bounty, they're still behind 8,000 at the 21-minute mark, with 2 dragons picked up by RNG, with Baron now being threatened. And look at this timing, Dagda. I mean, members of EDG are backing off. I don't think Scout can do this, even though he has TP. I mean, this is going to go down fast.
Yeah, this is going to go down incredibly fast. Flandre and Scout are going to have to commit their TPs to this, and honestly, that's all that RNG want. You can see there, they spot that the TP's been used. Fantastic. We're just going to rotate in towards the mid lane. We've already got the wave there. I mean, EDG, they're caught with the pants down here. RNG have just completely caught them out, and they're going to get the mid tower.
They've got another wave mid. I mean, they're not committing. I think they're hoping that someone from EDG does this.
Oh, no.
Does this.
Oh,
Jiejie, welcome in. Oh, no. He's dead. Culling was overkill, but he's still dead. No jungler in a 4v5 versus Baron. You better believe RNG are going to take this one.
I mean, immediately they're going to be able to get this, and there's no hope of a steal. 5 members of RNG strong. They didn't even use any of their real engage tools in that last fight. Well, fight, I suppose, picking on Jiejie. So you can't really try and move up here as EDG because there's just going to be way too many people in the way. And Xiaohu as well, moving towards the mid lane, making sure EDG can't respond with a tower.
Look at EDG in the meantime. Like, okay, let's set up bottom side vision, maybe give safe haven to Flandre to push and make a pick ourselves. But as RNG reset and come back out on the map, these are 3-item AD carrying Gala, 3-item Taliyah. Ming is going to do the same thing. EDG like, yeah, let's reverse the play. But the problem is, as Breed front lines here, they dredge line the tank, they depth charge the other bruiser. Meiko's ulti and engage will do nothing as he flashes away, and EDG are just trying to get some kind of hopage here as Viper starts poking down, and hopage turns into copium, turns into whatever's after that, as Flandre with a seismic shove back, won't get Gnar. Scout with a great ulti, but they're too far behind. Double cyclone, triple rainbow, Viper running forward. He'll get another kill, but ladies and gentlemen, EDG have been thwarted with only 4 kills to their name in the game 1 of this match of the week.
I mean, it was a full attempt coming through from Scout and Viper, but RNG just hit them with their wallets. Everyone is so damn strong on RNG, and here, as you say, Breed is the one that they end up engaging on. You have everyone on RNG immediately coming across, and EDG know they've messed up at this stage. They don't even have Jiejie with them for the start of this, so the beginning is a 4 versus 5. It's a good ultimate from Viper that does a lot of damage, but Wei had already kind of backed away with the clone. And again here, great flank from Xiaohu, because RNG don't want to engage because of the blast cone being there could separate out the fight, but great chance there from Xiaohu to sneak around, get the engage that you need, and RNG are able to finish them off.
I mean, Viper, big energy here as well. Gets himself a double. Shut down on top of that as well. For EDG to throw everything against the wall, you feel like at this point, getting fed up with this game going the way it is, but Dagda more so trying to get some gold into the carries that matter. As I feel like if that was more even, EDG win the fight there. They had the perfect setup, but not meant to be with how this early game played out. RNG, your MSI champions, are now running into the base of Edward Gaming, who are 10, 11,000 gold down. That culling hurts like getting hit in the face with a metal pole. You don't want to imagine it because it's just stupid how it happens, but it might happen one day. Who knows? As I go off the deep end a little bit here, Dagda, I think EDG would have the same brain capacity as me right now because they're not sure what to do to stand up as Viper's ulti only hits one.
Yeah, feeling very much like the joke EDG walk into a bar, but Gala now trying to be engaged on.
Meiko again sets it up and dies straight away. Glacier Prison in the backside, targeting Viper. The damage source is out as Jiejie also commits, but Scout's ulti to no avail. Gala stepping forward. Dagda, where's his penta? Well, it won't come through as he goes down as Ming now dealing with the top laner. Flashes in a straight line, and this might give chance for Viper to run forward, but Ming still survives. Still survives. Ebb and flow. The tides work in his favor, and he even baits through. Ming gets the final kill, and Wei is just dominating. Jungle diff, mid diff in our match of the week. RNG just have that mid game that makes you go,
And they ran away with this game. The Nexus will fall. RNG looking spectacular. 8-0-9 for Wei. 5-1 and 18 for Xiaohu. Mid-jungle domination from RNG.
Ming having a great game. I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to go through the whole team. Lanes look good, and as you said, for EDG, a lot of their play styles come down to how they play through the lanes, Dagda. We know that EDG in 2021 summer and leading into Worlds, EDG just had great lanes and were great team fighters, and they naturally found themselves a lead in the first 15 minutes, and they build that into really controlled gameplay. I feel like what we saw there was EDG losing out in, well, multiple lanes and not having a response with Wei dictating the pace of the jungle and putting Jiejie behind in the first level where, let's be real, we saw Scout die at level 1, going too deep to put a ward down.
But that's the thing with this composition, EDG needed to be incredibly defensive. So you don't win the mid jungle 2v2, you don't win the bot lane 2v2. Hell, I mean, Breathe was even dictating the pace of the top lane as well. So there's no part of the map that you're winning. And as soon as you give over that initial kill to RNG, that's the exact accelerant that they needed to actually take over in this game. And we saw it beautifully. Like, Wei continuously finding these moments to get kills, knew that he was just going to be stronger off rip because he had the 300 gold lead over his counterpart in Jiejie. From that point forward, they were just rotating around the map beautifully. Every time we saw EDG even attempt to make any sort of play or attempt to look at the mini-map and maybe rotate for an objective, it was like, nope, Xiaohu's here, Wei's here, we're shutting this down, you don't get to interact on the map. And it was a really strong performance from RNG to just understand how they can use this mid-game spike, this earlier spiking team, to shut down EDG.
Because it doesn't matter, it doesn't seem to matter what picks they get, right? Xiaohu, Lissandra's banned against him the most out of any other pick against RNG. Second is the Wukong. So Wei gets the Wukong, okay, there's comfort. Xiaohu just returns to the Taliyah. And with this mid-jungle enabled, EDG didn't have many options. And again, it came off the back of Scout dying, but it definitely feels like in this game, RNG played the lane so well. Gala and Ming showing us what a great Lucian Nami lane should look like, Dagda. And, damage is going to be great from Xiaohu here, but just look at the contribution across the board. Xiaohu with 96% kill participation. There's your MVP right there, as usual, for RNG.
But this is exactly what you're talking about, Hysterics. comfort for RNG, right? Xiaohu's one of Xiaohu's most played champions is the Taliyah. Wei as well has been having a fantastic set of series most recently, and the biggest problem for that has been, oh well, he actually looks really good in the Poppy, which is why we saw EDG ban the Poppy. But because you banned the Poppy, it opens up for Wukong, which has been his best champion all split long. So it felt like EDG just kind of put themselves into this catch-22 with the draft. We'll have to see if they can try and ramp it up in a different direction for game number 2.
I want a game 3. I didn't go through waiting 6 games for this Dagda for it to end in a stomp. Game number 2 better give us something different, as we know both these champion pools on both sides extend far and wide. Let's go to a break and find out if EDG